Well, the USMNT camp is officially over, and they lost to Portugal 2-0 to finish a disastrous camp. First, they played Belgium, then they played Portugal. And there was a lot of hope going into this game that maybe we would see a rebound and we would see the team play with a little bit more energy, more passion, better quality. But that's not what happened. And this camp has raised a lot of questions about what is going to happen for this team heading into a tough group in the 2026 World Cup. Hello, everyone. Welcome to MLS Moves, presented by FanDuel. Please make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I brought on my friend Adam Turner to break down the second match between USMNT and Portugal to see how he feels and all the bad things we continue to see with this team. So now let's get to that video. Adam, it's been a couple months, man, since you've been on the channel, and I was actually very excited to get you back on. I thought we were going to have some positive things to talk about. 2 months away from the World Cup, 2 big friendlies in this camp against Portugal and Belgium, teams you're going to have to beat if you want to go anywhere on the World Cup. And here we are 2 games later, and I feel like we're more lost than ever. And I feel like confidence has to be somehow at an all-time low right now.
Well, you know, I got this beautiful sip of sunshine, my favorite beer. I was either going to drink it in celebration with you or drink it to ease the pain. So cheers, brother. It's yeah, you know, I felt like we were at the end of 2025. There was a great trend line, and we were starting to see maybe some fruits of some labor and fruits of some, you know, behind the scenes work, steps back to go forward, right? All that stuff, right? And it was like, okay, like maybe here's the vision, right? Here's some tactics that seem to be working. The Uruguay game was pretty unbelievable, pretty spectacular. We hadn't really done anything like that in, you know, a generation of U.S. soccer players, maybe 2 generations. It's been a while. So coming in, it's been a while, a bit of a big break too, right? Talking 4 months. Everybody's gone. You know, how does it come back together? And all of a sudden you're playing, I want to say the best competition, right? Maybe other than Copa, a couple games around Copa. We played Brazil. But like, it's the best competition we've played in 8 years. You know, like, I don't know. It's like England in the World Cup. It's Brazil. It's Uruguay. There's not a ton. I think we played Germany in a friendly. So, I mean, like, however you want to say it, right? It's like games that are pretty rare for this group. How are we going to, you know, who are we going to show up as? And it's pretty underwhelming. My only hope is that, like, Poch still just doesn't give a crap about friendlies, and he's like, nah, this is all still trial and error for me. It seems crazy, seems like a crazy approach to me at this point, but it's my only hope, because I agree, if that's signs of things to come, if that's signs of where we're at, we're in trouble.
You know, I told Derek from Straight Red Card on the phone, I think I told him this like Saturday night, you know, because Pochettino's been doing all this experimentation. And I told him experimenting is for college. You know, like that's what it's for, man. You know, it's a joke. But like, I feel like right now is where you're supposed to be locking stuff in, Adam. This is when you're supposed to really start to see what the big picture is going to be, what you're going to, the starting 11. If the World Cup started today, you would be kicking out the lineup you would put in that right now to prepare to get that chemistry to gel. Because, you know, we've done several of these camp reviews, post-game recaps, and there's been numerous times where me and you were like, man, you know, they don't look very good, but there's guys out because they're hurt. And we want to see what they look like when they're fully healthy. Like, what can the team be? And this is one of the healthiest teams. Now, there's been a couple guys out, obviously, but we had both strikers in this camp for the first time in a while, Ballo and Pepe. And Pepe hasn't played a single minute in either friendly, and Ballo didn't start this game. And I want to pull this up too, because this is like kind of starting off the game. I want to pull up the starting 11. Okay. So this is the starting 11 that Pochettino kicked out tonight against Portugal. We had no true striker in this game. Now, this is what they put on the TV, but I don't really think this is exactly the formation, because I thought Weah was on the right side, you know, so I don't think this is exactly it. But they did have Pulisic, it seemed like, play like more of a false 9, And I think they did that because in the last game, he was everywhere. He was doing too much. He was turning the ball over. He looked very uncomfortable, which we'll save him for later because we definitely got to be talking about Christian Pulisic of how bad he's been lately. But it's like Pochettino wanted to have Pulisic more isolated so he didn't screw up or turn the ball over, kind of keep him more in a certain spot. But when I saw the starting 11, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. Like, this looks horrible. And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, so it was actually Weah was kind of the right wing back.
Yeah.
Jedi was the left wing back. Freeman was dropped back into kind of that block of 3 in possession. We defended with Freeman as the right back. We defended in a 4-4-2 with Freeman as the right back. So that defensive back is exactly how we defended. And then I think Wes and Weah, kind of drop back. Weah was actually on the right side. Wes was kind of the, right-sided attacker. Malik was the left-sided attacker. Pooley was, in central. Yeah, what I don't really get at all, I still am confused by a lot of what Poch sees. I could be biased for me. I just don't see the thing with Aiden Morris. I just don't. I know there's some love out there for him in certain circles, but I don't see it. I haven't seen it in the whole Poch era. I just haven't seen the guy really put in shifts that are like, yeah, that's the guy versus Portugal, right? And like, this is the kind of game, I don't know, I would like to test guys that are going to play. So what this is showing to me, either one, Poch has a way different approach than I would have, which is I wouldn't be trying guys out. I would be testing guys at this point, right? You should know who you're going to play. So that's what's pretty scary to me is like, was this a tryout for Ajimang and Berhalter and Morris, or was this a trial? And when I say a trial, I mean, like, was he saying, okay, let's get you guys experience in these games because we're going to need you to have experience. And that's really scary, dude, because if I'm seeing Aiden Morris in a World Cup, we're in trouble. Like, I would have rather had gotten Tanner Tessman more minutes against quality opponents, and with guys he might actually play with. But I think Poch sees some things that we as fans think, it's not realistic. I've said Ajimang is going to make the World Cup roster forever. I don't think he should, but I think he is. I just think it's like a given. You don't invest 1,000 minutes in half a year into a guy, and then bring him in pretty much pre-World Cup camp. You're bringing him in, playing him key minutes. And now he scored a goal last game, and he's not an awful soccer player. I've said this over and over again. He's not an awful soccer player. In our world, he's been elevated to something he's not. And we can get into him more later, but I don't know, man. I'll go back to it. Our hope is that he's still tinkering and testing. And I agree with you. Why are you tinkering and testing if that's what you're doing? Like, we should start to, lock in tactics, lock in players. We have a couple games here, even if it's a half, right? We should be doing it. But I want to talk about a couple positives because I do have a couple. I thought both first halves overall, versus good teams were good, right? We could talk about the goal at some point. I'd like to dig into that a little bit. But
yeah, I got it ready to go. A still shot of
picture, 30,000 foot first is like, we played with Portugal for a half. Like, we didn't get great chances. I thought people were over exaggerating that a little bit on the X app, but like, we had a couple deep shots that like looked dangerous. We didn't get much. There was not much with teeth, right? We kind of chucked it up from deep a couple times. They had the two best chances, right? The one strike that Freese saved, great save. And then obviously the counter. They didn't have much else other than that, though. I would have expected Portugal to be putting us under. And so what was promising to me is that for a half, they didn't really put us under. They took advantage of 2 mistakes and got 2 good chances. And I do want to circle back to that too, because that's a big theme for this team. But like, on the whole, we played pretty level with Portugal in terms of run of play. I thought we outplayed Belgium for the first half. I really did. I thought we were unlucky to not have a lead at halftime. So those are the positives, is that we saw 2 halves that look good. It's just like, how do we ensure that we can do that for 90? And how do we ensure that we're not playing in a way that almost like destines you over 90 minutes against these good teams to lose? Because that's what I feel like we're doing, is in a way, I feel like we're playing a style that like it's, playing with a hand grenade with the pin out, it's like, all right, when's this thing going to explode?
Well, and you brought up a good point. Like, I definitely think our first half against Belgium was good. And I wouldn't say this is the worst first half against Portugal, but the problem is that our good isn't good enough. And even if we're playing well, that goal, like I'll pull this up real quick, just the first goal that they scored. I mean, look at the space. Who's closing in on this guy? Look at how much space he has in the box. That should never be a thing. Now, Trusty,
1,000%.
Trusty went back because there was someone behind him, so I guess he was marking him. But there's just too much standing around. And if you look at Aiden Morris, someone mentioned he looked like he's running quicksand right here.
Yeah,
I mean, the defensive breakdown right here is insane. Like, if you do this against any top team, which some people would argue Portugal is a top team in the world, I think they're a dark horse to maybe win it all. You're going to get punished for doing this. And maybe I don't think you could put this on Matt Freese. I mean, when a player has this much space in the box, you cannot blame the goalkeeper. You can't blame the goalkeeper. I mean, so this is all in the defense.
Look, like I want to even backtrack further. I don't know if you'll have the clips or the video or anything, but like if you backtrack 5 seconds before that, Will, what actually happened, right, is we're in this spread build out of the back, right? So if you I don't know, can you even go back even further than that to where the turn? Like, yeah. So look right here, right? Look at that. Look at that. Look at how open we are. Our two center backs are back, right? And this is like what you do when you possess. Look at the middle of the park right now. Like, I don't know whose responsibility. I'm not that big of a tactics guy, right? A little, I dabble, but I'm not a soccer coach. But I know that if the middle of our field looks like that when we're possessing, Will, right? What we are saying is we're not going to turn this over. Like, that's what we're saying. Because if you turn that over against anybody good, they are creating an opportunity, and probably a big one, right? Like, let's just be honest. So, like, to me, we're playing with fire. This is where we're pulling the hand grenade without we're playing tactically, and we're like, I wonder if it'll explode. And it's like, well, for 35 minutes, it didn't explode. Cool. We must be good. To me, it's like, no, look at our players, right? Do we really think that we're going to possess all game against Belgium or Portugal or whoever, right? Like, forget Spain and the top and France. Just go one tier down. We're not Mexico. We're going to turn the ball over. I saw people be like, McKennie was a terrible play. Dude, that's going to happen. We have Alex Freeman and McKennie on the field. Even when we have like Serge and McKennie, those guys are going to turn it over. These are not world-class players. Like, when they're playing a good team, they're going to turn it over. And when you turn it over, right, every team understands this, right? Every team that's trying to play up levels understands you're going to turn the ball over. I'm not saying never possess, kick it long every time. No, but you better be built in a way that you're anticipating the obvious. The obvious is we're going to turn it over. Okay, when we do we have cover? Do we have tactics that are covering for inevitables, Will? These are inevitables. Like, it's naive to be like, whoa, with Weston McKennie, we got to put pressure. Weston McKennie can't do that. It's like, okay, that's like nice and idealistic, but Weston McKennie, have you ever watched him play, bro? He's going to do that. Like, he's going to do that. So we need to be built in a way that we can cover. Like, right, what I saw in the Belgium game, 5 goals, this game, like, we're not building ourselves in a way that makes any sense. We need to be far more conservative. Like, I'm going to be extreme here, right? And I hope people don't go, oh, he's saying that we're Man City. Like, shut up, right? We're playing far more like 2010 Barcelona and Man City stylistically. That's what we're trying to do against these teams. It's far closer to that than like Simeone Atletico Madrid. And to me, that's crazy. If you told me those are the two ends of the spectrum, Simeone Atletico, right? Prime Barca, right? Spain 2010. We should be way more on that side. This is a spectrum, obviously. We should be way more stylistically on this side of the spectrum. If we go play France, we need to be way on that side of the spectrum. Portugal, way on that side of the spectrum. I'm watching us play. I'm like, we're like way closer to like trying to do what Barca does. And that's wild, bro. I don't know. That's wild.
No, I agree. And that's never been our forte of like how we've ever won a big game. Like, we've always been like a more, grind out 90 minutes, make them earn everything. That's how we've won every big game we've ever played as a U.S. national team, right? And I just don't really get what we're doing. Like, this just feels like we're lost. The team just feels lost. Adam, we saw at one point when we were doing the 3-4-2-1. last year, that it was working and it looked good and everything was fine. And then we just completely blew that up, and we're not doing that anymore. We haven't done that one friendly this year. Not in either one of these friendlies, we have not done the 3-4-2-1. Right? I mean, I guess you technically could say we might have done it a little bit tonight, but I really don't count that because Pulisic was playing striker. That's not your ideal striker.
We were doing it tonight. I thought we were kind of back to the fall tactics tonight. Your point about Pulisic's fair, right? We're doing it with a totally different kind of setup and guy up top. We're also doing it with Morris and Berhalter, who, God willing, aren't going to play in the World Cup. So you're kind of like, you got a lot of pieces out there, and it's like, well, none of these pieces make any sense, right? And the Morris Berhalter midfield. So here's the thing, right? Like, these guys are good soccer players. I think people give these guys too much slack, right? Those guys are good pros. Look at where they're playing. Look at what they do with club. They're good pros. They're not good national team players if you have ambition. They're just not. Like, they didn't have horrific games. They kind of played how I'd expect them to play, Like, they didn't do horrendous things. They made some positive contribution. They work really hard. They're grinders, and they look like they're working really hard. So people love it. Oh, that's my guy. Urgh. Got stuck in that one time. Yeah, that's what we need. The problem is your midfield. It's like going into an NBA series, and you got prime Steph and Clay on the other side, right? And you got two run-of-the-mill guards. And it's like, well, those run-of-the-mill guards, like, okay, they're good pros. They're NBA guys. They're going to get their heads chopped. Like, they're just going to get eaten alive. It's not even their fault. And that's how I feel. Like, we're putting these guys, and look at the picture again, guys. Everybody watching. That's the space we're asking them to play in. That's silliness. That's silliness, right? I don't even want Tyler Adams to have to play in this, right? I don't want him to have to cover for that kind of stuff.
You're set up to fail.
Aidan Morris, that's exactly right. We're setting these guys up to fail, and I think the tactics are fine. Just can we mix the tactics tonight? I think could have been fine. We just need to now mix tactics and personnel. Hopefully that's coming. I mean, hopefully it's on tap. I mean, I don't know.
So, okay, let me ask you this. Who would you say, watching that first half, who would you say your player of the first half was for us? Like, was there anyone that caught your eye that you thought did play? I mean, I think Freese played pretty well. I would say, I think he probably was the best player for me. Was there anybody that stood out to you who you thought stood out and you thought did pretty good in the first half?
I thought Freeman did a lot of nice things.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of made the little bit blunder that led to the goal, but once again, that's like a midfield turnover. Like, I don't even blame Wes or him. Like, those guys are just trying stuff around midfield. Like, you're going to turn it over sometimes. So I know it led to a goal, but once again, I blame the tactics. I blame the behind that more. So I don't know. I thought Freeman had a nice half. I'm not even a big Freeman guy. You know that. I mean, but I thought he did a couple nice things. He had the really nice turn and carry that led to the Pulisic shot. He had a couple other bright moments on the right-hand side. I thought, honestly, I thought at times, Timmy Weah, was okay. I mean, not spectacular, but I thought he was okay. I mean, it's tough, man. Like, we didn't build up great. We didn't have good midfielders to do that. The moments were kind of few and far between. I thought Richards played well. I thought he intervened a couple times really nicely. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of it was a half where, once again, I think overall we played solid. We didn't really produce much. And we also didn't have big highlights and big showy, guys who played extremely well. The Trusty play, you had it there. The Trusty's got to be better than that. I mean, if you watch this happen, right, Richards clearly ends up pursuing because Trusty's going to get beat. And then on the back heel, Trusty keeps pursuing to the same level as Richards when he's not needed. They almost are double teaming right here. They're almost double teaming Bruno. They're, and so that space ends up opening up in large part because Trusty doesn't just kind of understand and instinctually realize what's going on. And then, yeah, I bet we could catch some guys jogging. Honestly, I haven't done it yet, but I bet these guys that are what are they, 2 steps away behind him? I bet we could back up and watch those guys not fully busting. And that's the other thing that's that's where I find my disappointment is watching a World Cup game, last World Cup, and Tyler Adams is half jogging back down the field when it's a transition moment. It's hair on fire, red light moment, right? And Adams is jogging. I'm assuming Adams is exhausted because he played every minute of every game. but still, like, that's disappointing. Like, how do we get guys? Timmy Weah was disappointing in this moment. You could see him on the bottom of the screen there. He is half jogging in this moment, Will. And once again, that's like I don't know if he intervenes or not. I have no idea, but like, you should be like, go, we got to go. This is it. This is the big moment. Go. And I don't know, maybe, can he break up something on the back post? You know, there's a chance this goal could have been a back post goal. And so I don't know. Effort is still something to me. You know, they had a big pregame thing on it. Oh, the team talked about effort, watched film. I still am seeing a lot of guys lacking effort who are out there.
You can just tell by the mannerisms of these guys. Like, you see Aiden Morris here, right here. This is Aiden Morris. He looks like he's barely walking. I don't know if that's, I think that might be Berhalter right here. He looks like he's barely walking. This is Tillman. But here's the problem too. Like, so let's say that they do close out on him, right? There's so much space right here in the middle, but look at these two guys lagging right here, Adam. They could easily just cut through right here. He could find them right there wide open, because look, they're all focused on him. No one's closing on him at this moment, or if they are, they're way behind. It just leaves, it's so problematic. Like, you play any elite team, you're gonna pay for this. This is gonna be a goal like 9 out of 10 times for any team that has quality. And it just, like, I feel like the organizational skills are just lacking too for this team. Now, I do think Richard, like you said, was good. I think Matt Freese was better. But it's like we tested other pieces that ideally wouldn't start, so we didn't get to see it collectively if it all works together. We didn't get to see two solid midfielders in front of Chris Richards to see if there's more stability, even though the tactics and spacing was bad. We didn't get to see if the attack would work better on counters with a true striker up top. And so there's just and I just can't believe we haven't seen this yet. And we're 2 months away from the World Cup, and we haven't seen what would probably be our ideal starting 11 yet. And
why do you think we didn't see Pepe?
I have no idea. That's what I tweeted. How has Pepe? He's healthy. I just want to double check. I asked if is Pepe healthy. They say yes, and I don't understand how you brought him to camp and he didn't play a single minute either game. Ajimong got to play for 90 minutes total.
I had to like look it up. You know, I remember he was scoring like crazy before he got hurt, right? Like around New Year's or something like that. I think he got hurt.
Broke his arm, right? I think.
Yeah, and he was and he was scoring like crazy before that. I think he like had a crazy run of games with goals like in late December. And then I know he came back like a month ago or something. And, you know, I think he scored a couple. I remember seeing a couple. I haven't watched any of the games. I remember seeing a couple goals. Like, just weird. I was like, why? I totally expected Pepe to get a start, because he's been awesome. I mean, Pepe is scoring. I had to look it up, you know, during the game, because I was like, oh, let me look up the stats. He's scoring almost a goal per 90 this season, right? In the Eredivisie. Like, that's like, just for comparison, Ajimong is 0.34 goals per 90, which is really pedestrian for a striker. That's like really almost subpar. Like any striker, most strikers are getting 0.3 goals per 90, you know? And so I just don't get it. I don't get why we're not giving Pepe a shot. I don't know. He's played really well for the national team in the past as well, and like come up big for us. And when was the last time we saw Ricardo Pepi with the national team? Like
Jamaica, maybe Nations League, right?
I'm looking up. Like what? Yeah. Like what was like how many
2024 maybe?
How many,
that's the thing too.
He hasn't played, right? Like
I think I texted you this. Like, has there ever been a camp under Pochettino where Ballo and Pepe were both healthy?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think this is the first one where they're both healthy, ready to go, and it's completely squandered. You know, like I would have loved to see what Pepe could do in one of these two friendlies. I cannot believe he didn't play a single minute in either of these friendlies. You know, I can't believe that Ballo played. I think he got subbed out. I want to say maybe like 60 minutes in the first game, and then he subbed in like maybe 30 minutes. He probably played 90 minutes total.
Dude,
in both games.
I don't know if this is correct, but this says he's played 37 total minutes in 2025 and 2026.
Wow.
That's crazy for the national team. Like, so I get that he hasn't played for Poch, but does Poch really not think he has value? Because I mean, he just didn't play. Like, I don't know, man. Like, Poch doesn't really seem to value Gio very much, which, you know, I get it. I get the club thing, but I mean, I don't know, man. Gio, anytime he gets a serious run with the national team, he seems to perform. And we're a team that's like aching for a guy to make a final ball. Like we saw that tonight. Like every time we got into a dangerous spot, we made like atrocious decisions or held too long. It was like awful.
Well, also too, I'm gonna pull this up too, but I'm a slow motion because I don't want to get some copyright strike. But let me pull this up real quick. I want to show you this base too because this is something else in the second half because we're talking about defense. I want you to see this, Adam. This was the second goal.
I know.
Look how much space João Félix has. What are we talking about? He
Well,
had eternity.
even like once he, I was going to bring this up before when you talked about space. Once he it's not like he like hits it one time, right? Like he touches the ball, it goes head high, and somehow we don't get there. Like that's crazy. Like that's crazy. Like how?
Who would you blame on this? Would you blame Freese? Like I'm not going to play it, but like just watching it skip by. Like can you like? Because I saw maybe a couple people upset with Freese.
So but, oh my god!
But look how many people's in front of him.
Nobody's ever played goalie or like even imagine playing goalie if you're going to blame the goalie for this. This is so difficult, dude. You have like 6 bodies in between you and the ball. You can't even see the ball. Just as somebody who played goalie my whole life, you cannot see that ball. You can't. You have no chance. If somebody can get it through that pack into a corner, you're going to score. Like that's just how it works. The question is, how does it get through those guys? Why is nobody closing him down when he takes a touch head high? Like, oh god, it's crazy.
Let me see if I can find the other angle because I think they did like another angle. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I mean,
there's no way. I mean, look at his angle. Look at Freese's angle here. He's playing. That's a perfect position on the goal, right? It's on the left side. It's on the right side. He's protecting the right, his left side of the goal, right? And the ball's more to the left. That's great. I mean, look, you have a pack of bodies over there on his right too. It's like,
you know what's weird too? Look at this real quick too. I just noticed this. Like, watch it in slow motion. Berhalter, Richards, and Trusty all moved left. Not a single guy moved right to try to block it. I mean, now obviously they're not trying to get a handball, but I mean, look at this. They all go left. They all perfectly in sync
they
go
like
left.
Part the C. I haven't seen this angle yet. They just part the C for the ball. That is wild.
And then Matt Freese finally gets his view, and it's coming out like a bullet, and this goes in the top of the bottom left.
So to help Freese, I have not defended Freese at all. This is the first game I really I'm going to start to have to support him. He played well this game. You don't see this ball until it gets past. Who's that last defender? Hard for me to see. Is that Trusty?
Yeah, it's Trusty right here.
You don't see the ball until there, and it has pace, right? Like, come on. There's like you're not just diving when you see him kick the ball. You can't just like blindly dive to your right. You have no vision. It might get deflected, right? Like this is one of the hardest situations to be in as a keeper. Hockey's kind of the same, right? Like the pack of bodies and like the puck comes through and it's just like it's kind of hope, you know. But to your point, how do we leave a really dangerous attacker, you know, wide open at the top of the box and let him get? I'd love to know how many. So he touches that at what? Let's see when he touches it at what's his first touch at 27. Okay. 28.
So about 2 seconds before they actually closed down on him. He had 2 seconds.
29. Yeah, it's like almost 2. Like we're not getting there in 2 seconds. You can see the flight of the ball. Like nobody even reacts to the flight of the ball, right? Like you just played it. Like nobody's moving on the flight of the ball to the top of the box. Like if you go back like 1-2 seconds, everybody's just like stuck on the 6. So here's the flight of the ball and like nobody's going to move to it.
But like, how did nobody notice him?
I don't know. That's crazy. You usually leave a couple guys unmarked up there, but like not totally, not like to the point
usually right here though, at least. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you about, because we have to talk about this, Adam. This is super important, man. This is like one of the most important things of like how bad this camp has been, is we have to have a serious discussion about Pulisic. We have to have a serious discussion about Pulisic because Pulisic has been atrocious the last 2 games. He's only had 1 good game for club or country in the last 3 months. He had an assist like his last club game on March the 22nd. He has been abysmal. He's tried to play too much hero ball. He's turned the ball over. He looks checked out. Now, I don't want to play into the tabloids and speculate with what's going on in his personal life. There's been some news about that potentially affecting him. I'm sure you've heard of it yourself. I mean, something's clearly affecting him.
Yeah. I mean, I said it mid-game. I was like, you know, love him, love my boy, but we got to be honest here. Like if he's going to play like that, we don't have much of a chance. I'll be honest. Like if he's not going to be our best player, or at least like an impact player for us, right? I put that out and people are like, he's not our best player. I'm like, dude, Christian Pulisic is our best player. I mean, he's not playing like it, but like he is our best player. You can't, if you go back to the 2014 World Cup, if Clint Dempsey isn't Clint Dempsey, do we make it out of that group? No way.
No.
0-2. If Landon Donovan isn't Landon Donovan, are we making it out of the group and going to the, and making that run to the quarters? No way. Like soccer, you have to have your dude be your dude. If you're a nation like us, if you're France, you can buy a game where Mbappe isn't Mbappe because you got like 10 dudes, but like we can't have Christian Pulisic be mediocre. We just can't, because like there is no one else to step up, not to the level of that. So I don't know, man. It's not even just like, okay, he's fading, we're not getting him the ball. Like he's bad on the ball. Like making bad decisions and just like really not doing anything to impact the game in a positive way. So I don't know. It's worrisome though. Your point is taken. It's like, is he going to show up in June? Because God, we're going to need him to show up in June if we have any shot of really making it out of the group, to be honest. Like you're going to need him.
Who would have thought that, man? Like, and here's the thing too. I feel like no star USMNT player, not just any USMNT player, star USMNT player has had a worse 12-month run than Christian Pulisic. Because if you remember, he didn't want to go to the Gold Cup and play every game. He wanted to play maybe like the 2 friendlies and then go home, whatever that was. So that started it. That kickstarted it. I think maybe I can't remember. Did he play well against when he came to the last camp? I don't really remember, to be honest with you. It's been so long.
I think he played okay. I don't think he was like a standout at all in terms of like for his level, like
what he's expected to be, right? And
correct.
He hasn't scored a goal for the USMT since 2024.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while.
So he has had a bad, like on and off the pitch 12-month span for the USMNT. He looks unmotivated. He looks disinterested. He looks sloppy on the ball, like you said. He makes some bad decisions. He had a couple frustration fouls, tonight as well. And I just feel like he's lost, man. He feels like a lost soul on the pitch. And
yeah,
I'm just telling you, he is one guy who cannot be mediocre if we want to do anything in 2020 this summer. He can't be. He has to be good to great. And I know maybe it's not fair to put those expectations on him, but that's just how it is. He's expected to be the guy to lead this team, maybe not from a leadership standpoint of vocally, but on the pitch, quality-wise, he's expected to be the guy that's the fire igniter. And he's far from that right now.
Yeah, so I looked it up. I thought this was the case. He wasn't in the November camp.
Okay.
He didn't play in the Uruguay game. Yeah, I mean, he's not on the roster. He didn't play in either game. And yeah, I mean, it's funny because, you kind of had Gio Reyna step into like his spot in the Paraguay game. And I thought Gio played great in that game. And then the game after, you had Luna kind of playing in his spot, and Luna, I think played pretty well in that game as well. So I saw a couple of people saying that, we're playing better without him. And there's a point there. Right. And that's, Poch had that quote in between games here, right? Well, we got to figure out how to get Pulisic going. We got to figure out how to ignite him. And it's worrisome when you look back and you're like, okay, well, we had this great camp, in November. And even the camp before that, I thought was a good one, the Ecuador-Australia camp. And, really, to your point, it really wasn't him making much of an impact. I don't remember him in the Australia game. His FOT mob is a 6.3, and that seems about right from my memory. I know I couldn't tell you. It seemed like he subbed out after 31 minutes too. So it seems like he didn't play much in that Australia game. And then in the Ecuador friendly, which was 1-1, he didn't start in that game. So I think he was coming off injury or something, right? And I think it looks like he came in the game and played 73 minutes against Ecuador. 6.1 was his rating. So yeah, I mean, if you're just backtracking 6 games at this point, it's been like pedestrian. If there was no reputation in play, you wouldn't really think much. You'd be like, it's another guy,
So 2021, just real quick, 2021, he played 8 games, scored 3 goals for the USMNT. 2022, he played 14 games, scored 5 goals. 2023, he played 8 games, scored 6 goals. In 2024, he played 12 games, scored 4 goals. 25, 6 games, 0 goals. Now 2026, 2 games, 0 goals. I don't think there's ever been an 8-game stretch where he didn't score a goal for the USMNT. His last goal was against Jamaica in November of 2024.
That is tough.
Yeah.
That's wasn't fully aware of that. But I mean, you look at that now, that's like trend line type stuff, you know? Oof. Yeah.
And you know what's even crazier is that he's had good spells where he's for Milan, where he's been arguably the best player in Serie A for a short term, and it's just not translating.
I would agree. I would say, like, for a lot of that span that you just named, he's killed it in Milan, you know, 24-25 season, beginning of this season, 25, you know, like you said, there's probably an 18-month span where he was like, you know, elite in terms of the numbers he was putting up in Italy, and for that to not carry over is just wild. Just wild.
You know what? Another thing too, Adam, just like talking about this camp, you know, we haven't even talked about Pochettino, but too much, but it just feels like this was a very heartless camp. Like, I did a preview what we were expecting. I asked Derek this, said, what are you expecting from this? Are you expecting to feel more confident? Is this just a throwaway? Does it matter what the results are? Like, what's the sentiment behind this camp? Like, what's the motivation? And, you know, now that it's over with, I feel like this was the biggest waste of time. It makes things 100 times worse. Confidence is in the tank. I don't know how anyone could feel better after these last 2 games. We lost on aggregate 7-2 between the 2 matches. And I can't say a single player really just shined. Like total, like both matches. There was some good spurts like in the first game against Belgium, but man, nobody's stock is really that high after this camp, in my opinion.
No, yeah, the stock part. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do my camp recap with Tack, and I haven't even thought about that. Stock up, like stock is up after this camp. Freeze maybe, right? Like, because Turner played crappy and, you know, Freeze played well. Like, that's about it. So yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure you're going to stock up. I'm gonna just pivot and be positive again. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna keep putting positive spins on it just to help myself stay sane, because there's not much else we can do at this point. I can either, you know, wallow in the misery of kind of a bad camp, or we can try and put some spins on it. The spin is this, and I think when you say it's soulless, I actually agree with that. I like that take. It's soulless because if you look at game 1 and you go look at the lineup, right? Okay, so we play in the first half, we play the same guys, and it's much, much closer to what, like, I would expect a, you know, World Cup game 1 lineup to be. Would you agree with that kind of in game 1?
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part.
Know, it's Ballo, Pulley, McKennie, Tillman, Tessman, Cardoza. You know, if you didn't have Adams, right? Tessman, Cardoza, you know, and then the center backs, you know, we didn't play the best center backs, but, and obviously, you know, Disastrous, but Weah, Jedi. So pretty close, you know, like felt much more like we were like, okay, let's go get this. And in that half, we played well. We dominated the first 35. I thought the first 10 last 10, I thought we were getting absolutely smashed. And now that was like, I don't know if everybody felt like that, but God, it felt like Doku was going to score like 10 goals in the last 10 minutes. Like, but overall it was a good half. And like, that was to me. So if you're playing glass half full, you're going, okay, Poch played our World Cup lineup for a half and we hung with Belgium, outplayed them. Then, we played 19 guys in the game. We didn't sub in the first half. We had 8 sub. Like, anything with 8 subs is going to feel soulless, right? It's going to feel like a rec league game. It's like, whoa, everybody's coming in. So it's like the twist on it is like, okay, we went totally off the wall. Let's get guys minutes. Let's test guys out, which is kind of fair in a friendly. That's fine. And ish hit the fan. And for us as fans, we're like, oh my God, that was awful. When really, if you look at it, like, this is what it looked like, you know, like, okay, Roldan comes in minute 46, Freeman 64, Arfston 64, Berhalter 64. Right there, like, how are we not going to lose 5-2? Listen to the names I just said subbed in. So, like, the best case scenario is we're not even trying to win the friendly at that point. We did our job. We got guys minutes. We're going to keep them healthy. We don't need to play 90. We don't need to stress guys. And we're going to go get a bunch of other guys that I want to see out there, right? To me, that's the glass half full, right? And similar tonight, we had a lineup that was not optimal, not even close to what a World Cup lineup would be like for us. And like I said, we actually did hang with Portugal, right? I think you could argue we played fairly level with them. I don't think they got that many more chances than us. They weren't like, sometimes we play, Will, and we're like, oh my God, it's just like chance after chance. That wasn't the first half tonight. And then once again, second half, we sub. But I don't know. It doesn't like totally dispel some of the trends we've mentioned. From my side, the tactical stuff I mentioned, right? I'm really worried about that. From your side, why aren't guys putting effort in closing down space? Like that stuff's troubling, and that stuff will peek its head out in massive moments, even with our best players, if culturally we don't solve that, right? And if feet aren't held to the fire.
So I have one final question for you, because this was just such a bad experience, even as a fan, man. It's just so hard to watch, and it doesn't give you any hope. And, we got a couple months before we really start to cope or become more pessimistic about our chances going forward in this World Cup. But I want to ask you one final question. I want to ask you about Pochettino. This was his last true camp, because the last two games against Senegal and Germany don't really count as a camp to me. Those are just a tune-up right before the World Cup. And I don't think they're going to leave each other's side until, when they play those games, the team will be with each other until the World Cup starts June 12th or June 14th, whenever the first game is. This is the last true camp where you go and you leave, and, the real camp feel. How would you grade this final camp in Pochettino's tenure with the USMNT? And I would do a grade system like 1 through 10. 1 being absolute shit, 10 being perfect.
I'll be honest. The more we've talked tonight, I'm going to try and be the voice of reason to everyone now. I don't think Poch was trying to win games this camp. I just don't. I really don't. I don't think his goal was to win these games. Agree, disagree, whatever, and maybe that impacts our rating of him.
Yeah.
But I truly don't. I think that he sees these as like whatever. That's how he treated it, right? And that's why, you know how he treated this, dude, and why you felt like soulless, why you said this is really just got off of the watch. Do you watch your preseason NFL games?
No, not anymore.
Hell no. It's like, oh, my starting lineup got out there for two. We got them there. We got them there. They're two. What do you call it?
2 drives.
They're 2 drives, and then we're going to the second unit. Then we're going to go. That's how the whole thing felt. Yeah. Like I said, I'm a bit worried the second unit guys he is going to throw in there in the World Cup. I'm kind of crossing my fingers on it. But I'm also like, you know what? I feel like I saw enough growth at the end of last year to gain confidence in Poch and feel like, okay, kind of see the vision. And I kind of feel like there was some stuff early in the tenure that, you never know what's going on behind closed doors, right? Crazy moves and crazy stuff. Sometimes coaches literally are doing stuff to motivate, doing stuff to figure guys out, doing stuff. So I don't think I agree with everything Poch has done. I certainly don't think his tenure has been a 10 out of 10. But I'm going to be, pessimistically optimistic. I'm going to give him a 7 at this point.
So you give him a 7 for this camp, like this camp alone, give a 7.
No, his overall job at this point is a 7. The overall job is a 7. I mean, this camp, I don't know what his goals were, man. Like, if his goal was to win, it's a 2, a 1. Like, if his goal wasn't to win and it was like test a bunch of dudes out and keep guys healthy and just kind of focus on the first half tactically and then F it, throw F against the wall, throw it against the wall, see what sticks in the second half, then it's fine. It's a 7 or 8. I don't know what his goals are, right? I mean, certainly from a fan perspective, it's like a 2 out of 10 camp. It sucked, other than a couple bright moments in the first half of the first game. Like, the camp sucked. It sucked to watch. Nothing, not much insightful coming out of that camp for me as a fan leading into the World Cup. So yeah, as a fan, 2 out of 10. What he's trying to accomplish, I think potentially there's some stuff that we don't understand about Poch. And so it's going to be hard to judge him fairly if I don't know what he's trying to get out of it,
I would say I would have to give him like a 1 out of 10. And I know what you're saying about like, were they trying to win? What were they trying to do? We don't really know. But I feel like you saying that just proves how problematic that philosophy is. I mean, we talked about this being the last camp. This is important. This is where you really want to see your starting 11, your ideal guys, build that chemistry and kind of build some momentum heading into the World Cup. And to waste this opportunity just feels like a huge error on his behalf. Now, I'm not saying we had to win these games and put everything on the line and guys risk injury to do it, but this was the complete opposite of that. This was a soulless performance. And I feel like this shows that something is broken in this, I guess, this thing he's trying to build, for lack of a better word, thing, this bond, this team, they're just not, it feels like there's no connection whatsoever. And with them not playing well and them not doing things the way me and you would do it, or most people would do it, it just doesn't give me any confidence. And I just don't feel like, when are they going to have a chance to play two teams like this again? Senegal's a decent team. Germany's a really good team, obviously. But to have these two quality teams to play back to back and to waste that opportunity feels idiotic and just feels like, what the hell are you doing? That's my problem.
I don't think the first game was a waste. I think we're blowing the second half out of proportion with a bunch of garbage players. And if you're saying, okay, we should have kept the best guys on for longer, I think it's probably just a philosophical difference. I think for him, it's like, let me get these guys out of here and let me get them off. So I'm not as down on the first game. I really am not. I thought it was a great first half. I came out of that game being like, that first half was really good. Second half, I can't really judge. It's hard to judge when we throw those guys out there. So once again, my issue is I think he values certain guys that I don't value and that I really don't think should belong on a World Cup roster, and I think will be on a World Cup roster, and I think might play in a World Cup. So that's problematic, right? And if we see that in the World Cup, if that's actually where it's going, then it's going to really paint the Poch job that he's doing, pretty darkly if those guys get on the field and they perform in the way that I think they'll perform, right? And I think we'll perform with them on the field. So there's a lot TBD to me. I think that for me, there's a lot of different approaches in coaching to how you go about your scrimmages. For me, it was scrimmages as a college coach, right? The approach to those is very, very different, coach to coach, program to program. And I don't know if there's necessarily a right way. There's different ways and different approaches, just like there's different approaches to, preseason conditioning and a lot of stuff, right? And some coaches would look at what we would do preseason conditioning and be like, that's crazy. That's bizarre. And I would look at what they did and be like, what? But at the end of the day, the proof's in the pudding. Is your team in shape? Is your team conditioned, right? That'll tell you if what you did in the preseason worked, didn't work, etc. So I'm gonna withhold judgment because I saw the growth I needed to see at the end of last year. This confused me in some ways, right? In other ways, I could see an approach that a coach would take to these friendlies that's different than what I would take, for sure. Like we've talked about that, right? For sure, I would have taken a different approach. But at the end of the day, the proof's going to be in the pudding. If we show up in June and we're not ready to play and we're not ready to go, then you failed, man. Then this was a failure. You didn't prepare properly. But hell, if guys show up and they perform well, whether we like it or whether we think it's the right approach, not the right approach, then it worked, right? And he was able to get guys motivated, performing at a high level at the right time, right? And whether or not the process to get there, it's the same thing as the Berhalter stuff. I didn't agree with a lot of the Berhalter stuff in his first tenure. At the end of the day, he got us to the World Cup and he got us out of a group. And, like a lot of people poo-pooed that. I didn't poo-poo that. At the end of that World Cup, I said, you know what? I've crapped on Berhalter. He did his job. He shouldn't be a second-term manager, but he did his job in this first term. And at the end of the day, if he walks away right now, I'll say the Berhalter era was a success, And so I'm going to give Poch that exact same opportunity, man, right? Show up and get your team motivated. And if all this stuff, the awful beginning to your tenure, in my opinion, right? I thought it was going awful, the growth, this like bump in the road camp. If it all leads to a World Cup where you get your guys to show up, play really hard, fix the issues that seem to be there, right? And gel, then all good. We'll call it an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, depending on how far he goes, right? Because at the end of the day, everything, we said this when Poch got the job, right? Everything is going to be about the World Cup. everything. Gold Cup, cool, doesn't really matter, right? Friendlies, cool, they won't really matter. At the end of the day, like the job is you have 2 years to get this team ready. And we even said then, right? I think we kind of forgot it. We even said then, you're going to probably have to do some weird stuff with this group. You're going to have to like overhaul. You're going to have to overhaul mentality, right? It was left in an awful spot. So once again, just to put a positive spin on it, to not let everybody think, woe is us. I think there is a world where this is all a part of his motivational tactics and what he sees as the best path forward. And now we're here, man. And now we're here. We've waited for years together, and now we've arrived. I think the next time we'll probably chat and get on this channel will be probably pre World Cup, right? After some of those friendlies, maybe after a World Cup game. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Obviously, if we do well at the World Cup, nothing else matters getting there. But I would just say, just to close this out, that I feel nervous about that happening with what we've seen.
It's fair.
But listen, Adam, it's always a pleasure to have you on, my friend. Make sure you guys go follow him on Twitter at StanUSMNT. He's always down to engage with any USMNT fan. Even if he doesn't agree with you, he'll go back and forth, talk to you about what happens. He has great takes. He had some footage where he recorded where he was talking about that, what led up to that goal, the turnover, the spacing. Make sure you guys go follow Adam on Twitter /X at StanUSMNT. Adam, it's always a pleasure to have you, my friend. 2 months away from the World Cup. We'll see what happens. But until then, we will see you all very, very soon.